We have DCP East, Priyanka Kashyap, DCP Central, Shweta Chauhan, DCP South, Benita Mary, DCP Southeast, Esha Pandey, DCP Northwest, Usha Ranganani, DCP New Delhi, Amrita Guglot. BW Group Chairman and my Editor-in-Chief, Dr. Anurag Batra, and I, Ujjwala Naidu, Editor of the BW Police World magazine, we warmly welcome you to the webinar. Through this webinar, we would like to inspire our listeners and create an environment of equality and break the bias. This is DCP Southeast Esha Pandey. I would just like to introduce you to Esha ji a little. She's an IPS officer of the 2010 batch. She's been an amazing author, writer who's written books like Mohan Bari Murders, I Will Meet You There, and many more, which are very popular among the readers. She's worked also earlier as a writer, copy editor in a media organization before becoming an IPS officer. She's very vocal on gender equality. She believes in gender equality, and she's written beautiful articles on the same. So, ma'am, we would just like to start with you. If you could tell us a little bit about your journey into policing, what inspired you to come into policing to take up IPS. A little bit on you.
I grew up in an environment where being a girl was not a handicap. In fact, we are three sisters, and we were always encouraged to follow our heart and do what we wanted to do. However, coming from a small, town, there were limited goals and ambitions that I had. Just wanted to do well in studies, and just wanted to, get into a good job where my future could be secure. Those are my limited ambitions growing up. My mother helped me identify the particular goal of civil service as something which could propel me into a better future. So during the time I was studying, I was in Lucknow. I used to, my parents were allied with the army, so I always had a fascination for the forces. Um, but civil services was something that my parents said that, will really help you be in service of the nation, also be safe in this world. They just wanted me to be safe, and so they thought that this could ensure my safety as well. So that was how it was, and I knew that I wanted to get through, and we started. My sister and I, we studied together. We started preparing for the exams, and after in my third attempt, I got IPS, and I joined.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, you are the DCP of Southeast District, and let me tell you, Southeast District has areas of Jamia Nagar, Okhla, Shaheen Bagh, even areas of places where a lot of protests took place 2 years back. You actually also handled the first Gulebai case in Delhi that was registered in Southeast District. So, could you tell us how a little on cyberbullying that happens with women and how they can secure themselves in the cyberspace?
Cyberspace is now the most contested and most uh, important space, I would say, where women are regularly stalked and threatened, and lots of criminal activities take place. So Delhi police has started 15 cyber police stations, one in each district, and SHOs have been appointed, and a lot of staff has been trained to take on such challenges. uh, Email addresses have been shared with the netizens and with the citizens of Delhi, and through our Delhi Police website or our Twitter handles or our Facebook pages, you can get to know where to register your complaints. Once a complaint comes to us through the NCRP portal or through our email, we inquire into it and then register a complaint depending on the allegations which are made in it. Due diligence is put, and extra efforts are made to nab anyone who, makes such threat or stalks a woman or harasses them online.
Ma'am, you were holding the post of DCP PCR before taking over Southeast District. When during the second wave of COVID, the PCR vans in Delhi had done exceptional work, especially the deliveries in the vans. Would you like to share a little about it? What was your experience during that time?
During the second wave of COVID, around last of March and second week of April, things really went awry when with shortage of oxygen in the big hospitals, and so PCR was tasked with maintaining a free corridor for bringing in oxygen. So there were six major oxygen plants that we were targeted with, and I myself went to most of them to secure a corridor for the tankers. And our staff was stationed there, and 24/7 staff from PCR was deployed. Even at the height of the issue, three of our PCR vans had gone to Gujarat also to secure oxygen. So PCR staff had done a very good job as a team. That was a very, very big achievement, I feel, for PCR. And
Definitely.
as far as the deliveries of women were concerned, this was during the first wave of COVID, when some because the taxis and ambulance were also not plying. At that time, when the women in distress used to call the PCRs, some of them delivered in the van. If I remember correctly, it was around nine live deliveries in the PCR vans.
Yes, yes,
And of the nine, around eight of them were delivered by men. So, and they were very proud of the fact that they could bring a live baby into this world. Um, I think those are the things that help you gain confidence. PCR did immensely well during the first and the second wave of COVID.
right, right. Ma'am, one last thing I would like to ask, what are the initiatives you are taking up in your district for women's safety as well as law and order? Some initiatives that you would have introduced.
See, there are many initiatives which are already being run by Delhi Police to ensure the safety and security of women. One of them is Sashakti, where self-defense training is imparted to women. Um, Other than, you know, I have started a patrolling group uh, for women bikers who patrol in the areas where women frequent, the subji markets or the local markets, where they would go on foot and would be victims of snatching or eve teasing. So there we have that. We have also started pink booths in our district. Around six of them have started now. We've opened them in busy marketplaces like Nehru Place, Rajpat Nagar, Kalkaji. Uh, we also have there are a few initiatives like the Bal Baitak at Shaheen Bagh, Shram Vihar, where we are engaging with young adolescent girls, and we are bringing them into the. I mean, I also interact with them, and there is a whole team. We are doing it with an NGO where we go to them and we talk about what police means to them, what is the environment that they're living in, how we can change it, good touch, bad touch. So that is also something that we've been working at around 4 months now. This is in Shaheen Bagh, Shram Vihar.
Right.
We also have a Delhi Police Library in Jamia Nagar, which also caters to girls and it provides them a safe haven to study in that place. There are a few NGOs in Shaheen Bagh also that one has been working with. Yeah, these are the main initiatives. Other than we were giving training to some women in Okhla industrial area. So we were giving training to some women in Okhla industrial area. Sewing, training was imparted, and I think they have been able to get some jobs also in boutiques. So that was an achievement.
I would like to introduce a little about Shweta Chauhan. She's IPS officer of the 2010 batch, currently DCP Central District, and she's the first woman officer in last 64 years to take up the post of DCP Central. She's been in Arunachal Pradesh before, Delhi Police. We'll start with Veera Squad, ma'am. This is one initiative of yours which has garnered a lot of appreciation. Uh, could you tell us a little more on on this initiative?
Hi, thank you for inviting me here. Uh, See, Veera Squad is a patrolling squad. So we have police, active policing requires a lot of picketing, patrolling, presence in the area. So mobility is very important for police, and visible presence is very important. So bringing these two things together, we wanted to increase the visibility of women police force on ground. So we come up with this idea that we should have women patrolling on scooties. So I joined these girls together, those who were trained in scooters, who could ride a motorcycle. So there's one girl who rides a bullet. So she's part of the Veera squad. And then there are 6 other scooties. So these women go together, go in group patrolling, and they patrol the area. So this, kind of gives confidence to other women in the area, in particularly places, marketplaces where you see more women, or around colleges now that the colleges have opened, and schools. So in the morning hours around parks and bus stands and markets, and then in the evening again, which is the time when maximum crime happens. So to
True.
curtail street crime and to ensure presence of women on ground, so I came up with this idea of Veera Squad, taking the name from Veer, which is brave. So these are all those brave girls who go out patrolling in groups.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, one initiative of pink booths. Pink booths are have opened across the city, but there is a special pink booth, like the GB Road, um, which is a very beautiful initiative because they are also giving vocational training to the children of the sex workers. So, could you tell us a little more on that?
See, GB Road, as you all know, or it's Shraddhanand Marg, called Shraddhanand Marg now. So this is a place, this is a red light area, and a lot of sex workers live here. So this is actually a very vulnerable group because they do not have access to a lot of facilities that other women who live with their families have. So these are women who live alone and work, and then they are also looking at their life situation. They're vulnerable to exploitation, and a lot of them are poor. They are uneducated, and they've come in this trade because they don't have occupational skills. They can't do anything else, or maybe they don't have access to other kind of access to education or healthcare. So this particular chalky, which is a pink chalky or a pink booth, it's actually a post. So we have colored it pink, dedicating it to women, and it is functioning in 2 ways. First is that it's an woman kind of facilitation booth. So it's a police assistance booth dedicated to women, run by women. And
Right.
then there is this other part of the post that we have converted into a kind of a training school where we are giving training to sex workers who want to go out of the trade, and they want to have occupational skills which equip them to get jobs elsewhere. So we have come up with simple programs like sewing and stitching, so they can work as a tailor or a seamstress. So we are now providing a 3-month training course for that, and we've also come up with another course which we are going to start shortly. We have already done enrollments, a batch of 15, which we will be training to be healthcare workers. So these are girls who can read and write their names, and they have some rudimentary education, some little education, read and write their names and read the numbers and all. So we are training them for being healthcare workers so that they are employable later in nursing homes or hospitals, and they can do other jobs and go out of this trade. And we put up a computer lab here. The idea is to bridge the digital divide and also teach them, give them an access to maybe a bank account or things that they can do online education also. One of the girls I met here is actually she was doing her graduation when she came here.
Right.
So this girl has education, and she can be trained to do better things. So we are not doing any kind of value judgment here, but maybe just give them more education. So we have put up this lab where children are also welcome. So a lot of young children, these children are here, and we are training them. A lot of college girls have come up to help. So we're giving them short classes in maths and science subjects because they don't have tuitions at home, and we're also teaching them computers. So this is being done. Computers were put up with the help of an NGO. So their trainers are coming and teaching them computers, and they can also do their online classes here. So that's the whole idea, to kind of give an uplift to the area and to give them access to things that they haven't been given to earlier or traditionally.
That's a beautiful, beautiful initiative, ma'am. Ma'am, Central District has areas of Jama Masjid, Daryaganj, Chandni Mahal, Kamla Market, which are highly populated, as well as known to be the big retail market areas of Delhi. So law and order is always a priority, I'm sure. So how have you analyzed this area? What do you think should be done to ensure law and order as well as the traffic issues?
So there are two kind of areas here. One is a communally sensitive area, which is the area around Jama Masjid, Daryaganj, and all those police stations, 4 5 police stations. It is densely populated, and it has a different kind of a popular kind of, what do you call, communal thing is there, because two communities are kind of living together in close proximity. So yes, that is sensitive. So we do a lot of foot patrolling here. We go out on scooties, we go out on motorcycles because there are narrow lanes, and we four-wheelers may not go in. A lot of people are walking on the road. Pedestrian movement is a lot. So we do that kind of different kind of policing here, and then we do a lot of stress on building rapport with the community as such. So we want to have our personal links with the community with all sections. So there might be different sections. We talk to all of them. We have our kind of inroads into the community. We do community work with them. Like, for example, we organize a blood donation camp and we invite everybody to the police station, or we do an Aman committee meeting, something like that. Or like the pink booth also. So inviting women and to the pink booths and telling them about it. So we do a lot of initiatives here, community-based policing. Then we do a lot of foot patrolling and go into the streets, meet people and all. And then of course, intelligence network has to be built. So maintain peace and harmony. And if there is anything that may go awry, so we already know. In the market areas, of course, it is the morning hours when people come to their shops. So people come from different areas, or people come from like all across Delhi. So it is during the day hours, it is very busy. So police presence is required to maintain law and order, so that no street crime happens and things like that, to instill confidence in people. But at the night also it's important, because people are going away and they bought things, they have money on them, they have cash on them. So that kind of it's very, very intense policing, and picketing and patrolling is required. So that's what we do.
Absolutely. Right, ma'am. Ma'am, you were holding the post of DCP recruitment prior to Central. At that time, you had exposed one recruitment scam where there were dummy candidates who had come from Haryana and Rajasthan. Mostly the accused were from these two states. So could you share a little about it, as in what kind of, how were they trying to, cheat over there?
See, and any job in police is extremely coveted, and a lot of people apply for it. We get lakhs and lakhs of applications, and then lakhs of people write the exam. So the exam was in 3 phases. There was a preliminary stage where people had written exam over computers, and then the next was the physical test. So out of those maybe 16 lakh people who had appeared for the exam, we had selected about 70,000, 68,000 odd people who had to come for the physical test. So of course it was done in the COVID times, and we were all very careful to maintain social distance and as much as we could do at that time. So those having that test of 67,000, 68,000 odd people, it required kind of some scrutiny so that the right person is coming. So we had put up multiple layers of checking. So in that checking, we found out that some candidates were having a different photograph than the person who appeared for the test. So this is how we got into it, and we realized that this is like a scam, and some people are charging money to take exam in their places. In fact, it was happening two ways. In some places, people are charged money to write the written exam, so and the actual candidate came for the test. But in other places, they had changed the photograph, and the real person had written the test and the come for the physical. So it was two-way. But because we had multiple layers of checking and we had biometrics and we have photographs, they did not know that we have taken their photograph at the time of the test also. So
Yeah.
suppose some person's photograph is on the admit card and the same photograph is not matching with the photograph that was taken at the test. So all that came into scrutiny and we could unravel this
Right.
scam. And we
Right.
arrested several people there. A lot
Right.
of people's nominations were also cancelled.
You have been very encouraging, officer. You have been encouraging a lot of women personnel in your district for taking up patrolling and more active roles and more challenging roles in your district. So many women personnel told me that you have been personally very encouraging to them. So could you tell us about your thoughts behind it, as to what do you think about the women personnel working in Delhi Police? What more can be done? What more can be done for them?
That's very nice. That's very kind of them if they think that I'm encouraging enough. I think all of
Yes.
us
Yes.
encourage them in our own way.
Yes.
Yeah. And like our seniors have confidence in us. So like our seniors have posted us here. That's why we are here. So जैसे हमारे seniors ने they have given us, they have shown their confidence in us and we try to work according to their expectations. I also have confidence in my own police force. So I want them to go out and work like the men, and because women are not weaker in any way, and they're not weaker, they're not incapable, they're not deficient, they're not in any way. So I feel that they are equal to men. In fact, in some cases, they are even better. So that's what I tell them, that you work according to your full capacity, because firstly, this is a job which not everybody gets. You have this position where you can really make a difference to society if you set your eyes to it. And the next thing is that you be an example for the community, be an example for the women who look at you in your families, in your village, or wherever you come from. So I always tell them to, give their best and to actually kind of strengthen their hands. We have done it. I kind of organize courses for them time and again. Like we are teaching them how to ride a scooty. We have got 10 new scooties from PHQ due to our Honorable CP Sir's initiative. We got 10 scooties for everybody. So we are teaching more women to
Right.
drive. And in fact, if we don't even give them scooties, they should be self-sufficient enough to come to their offices and go back. So I want them to have those driving skills. So we've done a course on that. We do regular yoga. I want them to be fit and strong. And we do it very regularly. So and we are also we organize self-defense for a lot of women in our area. We teach college students, we teach school children, we teach women, folk, everybody. So we need to teach our women also. So I want them to do some unarmed training thing, because not only that they have to go catch criminals, but also they should be confident enough to go
Right.
in a crowd and all that. So that is what I do for them.
Right. Ma'am, now when we are talking about women in policing, what inspired you to join the IPS?
What inspired me? Yes, of course, it's everybody. I always, growing up as a young girl, I looked up to women in uniform, and
Ji.
it was, of course, a dream to do something for the society. I did not think initially that I would get an opportunity like this, because but yes, I wanted to do something for the people of this city, and I'm
Ji.
lucky to be posted here. So I wanted to do something to make a change in the society and to be visible. So earlier I was a lecturer.
Yes.
So that is a different kind of contribution to society. But I think as a police officer, you can do more, because you
Yes.
touch more lives and you really help people in distress. You help women in distress. You help children. You help all walks of, you touch everybody's life in a different way. So of course there is more impact. I think I'm lucky to have this job, and that is what motivates me even now, to do well and to help as many people as possible.
Right. Right. Thank you so much for talking to us. We'll move to DCP Northwest, Usha Ranganani. I'll just tell you a little bit more on Priyanka Kashyap. She's an IPS officer of the 2009 batch. She was born and brought up in Chandigarh, an IT engineer before taking up IPS. She served in Mizoram, Goa, Chandigarh before serving in Delhi. She served in ATS Goa and also in AIG modernization in Mizoram. Again, very two important posts in her previous postings in other states. So here she's DCP East. East District, as we know, has areas of Mayur Vihar, Pandav Nagar, Trilokpuri, and which is technically Yamuna Par, if I'm not wrong in saying. So, ma'am, we just want to start with this. You're an engineer and you took up policing. So we start with that. What inspired you to come into policing? Take up
Yes. Yeah. So it was a tough call indeed. So like you've already mentioned, I'm an IT engineer, and like with most of the IT engineers, I got campus placed. You're very excited about your campus placements. So I was placed with TCS as well as Accenture. So while my batchmates were joining and getting to have the good feeling of getting salaried, I had to take the tough call. Mostly because I think from my childhood days, I always found a calling in public service. So that was something that used to somehow call me on a personal front. And of course, I would also think that my family background also played a role in it. My father was in judiciary, and my brother also happens to be in the administrative services. So I saw my brother also work and do good for the society. And as we are a developing nation,
Ji.
so it was something that always inspired me, that how best can I contribute to the development that is happening around me in my country. So I thought that there's a good go at being a part of these services and be able to contribute. So that's why I think I decided to take the tough call.
Yes, ma'am. And we're very happy to have you that you took up policing.
Thank you.
Uh, Ma'am, could you tell us a little more about your district, your area, and the measures that you have been taking up to ensure law and order, crime control, and community policing?
Right. So, like you've already briefed that I'm part of the Patal Lok, or the
Yes,
Jamna part. So,
yes,
of course, we have we do have crime infestation, and so I have 4 subdivisions with me. As we start from Mayur Vihar, one subdivision, I have Kalyanpuri, another subdivision, Preet Vihar, and Madhu Vihar. So peculiarity of my district being that we border the UP from both sides, that is Ghaziabad as well as Noida. And uh, like I would say that as far as the initiatives that we have taken for making the women folk in my area secure, is that recently, like with the other districts also, like Pan Delhi, we've had the opening of pink booths. So likewise, we've also done the same thing, and we've come up with pink booths. Especially, I targeted those areas where we thought that it was most needed, where we thought the prevalence of crime against women was being reported, as well as to give a sense of security to women by having a police sort of a booth which can be used by them to address their issues. For instance, we have one in Shashi Garden, which we thought that was somehow becoming vulnerable for women. There are a lot of uh, young children who tend to go ori. So we targeted places like this. We have more footfall, for instance, the metro stations, or let's say Mangal Bazaar in Lakshmi Nagar, which has a high footfall. So it's targeted in both ways. We are targeting both the street crime as well as crime against women and children. So to give more sense of security, to have more police visibility and more police presence, so that people can don't have to really walk up to the police station and go through the ordeal of making PCR calls, or they don't have to waste any time. They can get immediate redressal by having the police reach out to them by way of these booths. So it's also like a facilitation counter in case there is any distress. Sometimes we face situations where children go missing. So we also address those kind of issues through our booths that are that have been placed here. Also, we targeted about 500 school children, school and college going children for a Sashakti program where we, aimed at self-defense training so that the girl, child or the women, young women get self-defense training and feel more empowered, and, they feel that they can handle, few odd situations. As well as something that we did last year, around June or July, we took up the Lady Patrol, which we named as Lady Jaguar. So we have something called as Male Jaguar already. So we, extrapolated it and, made an all-woman patrol called as the Lady Jaguar. So we took up our vulnerable timings. Now, of course, the addition has been with the opening of schools and colleges. So we've added on that timing, as well as the evening timing, wherein we thought that we can, target where we have walkers, joggers, and, parks and areas, again, marketplaces. So that is also ongoing. Other than that, we also try and have awareness and sensitization programs. We go hand in hand with a few, social service providers like NGOs who team up with us, wherein we try and have counseling sessions in JJ clusters where we talk to women, who are not so privileged. So we tell them, make them aware about their rights and their, legal rights per se, where how and in what form they can approach us if they are in distress. A lot of matrimonial dispute cases, a lot of domestic violence cases go unreported. So we try and instill that kind of confidence in them through our officers. We try and reach out to them so that they don't feel that we are very distant. So we've taken this up, the awareness side of it also. And at the same time, through our Yuva initiative, that's again something that Delhi Police has taken across the city, and CP sir has been, really encouraging us to take up different activities. So in that also we do try and, include more and more, women youngsters who are trying to find a source of livelihood for them, get them, trainings that is more suitable to their kind of, area. So we are targeting on that front also.
So, ma'am, is there anything more you would like to tell the women in police as well as the women citizens on how they can secure themselves, how they should be breaking the bias and taking up more challenging roles
So
professionally, personally?
So the fact that all of us are together here is a big, indicator of how the bias is being broken. I think 6 women DCPs in the capital city of a country of 1.2 billion plus. I think that's a big bias broken. Glass ceilings are definitely coming down. At the same time, I also would like to take the opportunity of having your medium to reach out to more women if they're watching us, that the police per se is one of the platforms where they should aspire to join us, because finally, if we have more women in the police force, we also get an element of more fairness, and we can hope to achieve a state where we can make our system more just to 50% of the population. So we need more women in the police force for that. We need them at the cutting edge levels. We need them to be at the forefront, especially in the police, because finally, we are the ones who initiate the process of justice. So I would hope that if there are, girls watching us, they should not step back thinking that, it's an odd profession. Back in those years, there was a general ek vichardhara thi ki, the women should not probably take up the police because there are odd working hours, or difficult working environment. So I must tell them all that we've really tried to make it women friendly. it's becoming more gender neutral. Our organization is very gender neutral now. We've tried to cater to their needs, and just like the other gender neutral organizations, we've made it this bit comfortable that we can hope to have more numbers, with us.
Right, ma'am. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Very inspiring words.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about Usha Rangnani ji. She's the IPS officer of 2011 batch, and be- she's been in Delhi Police. She's been serving in Delhi Police since last 3 years. She earlier held the position of DCP EOW. She was also in the police PCR, and earlier posted in Andaman and Nicobar's before joining Delhi Police. Ma'am, tell us a little bit about your area. I would start with Tejaswini, because Tejaswini was a tremendous success, something that you started. It received appreciation from across the city, the whole police department, all the senior officers. Tell us a little about Tejaswini.
See, when I joined police, what I saw is that most of the women were given desk positions. They were mostly asked to sit in offices, and they were not involved in active field duties. So when I saw that my seniors didn't discriminate between me and my male counterparts, so I thought this is my responsibility to bring them into the active field policing. At the same time, I realized that most of the women complainants, the residents of the area, they find it more comfortable to discuss their issues with the women, because most of the crimes that we talk about, crime against women, these are two types of crime. Either they happen within the four walls of your house, those we call them as domestic violence, and either they happen on the street, maybe sometimes teasing. So these are sensitive issues. In first type of crime, the families are involved, and it is not always comfortable for them to discuss these issues with their male counterparts, with the male police personnel. So I realized for the safety and security of women in the area, it is necessary that we bring these girls in the active field duties. It will serve two purposes. One, these girls will be motivated, and then they will provide a sense of safety and security to the area women. So what we did, we began by identifying the vulnerable areas where the crime against women was more, or those areas which were more frequented by women, like for example, the market areas, and also the areas where the women were residing in large numbers, for example, PG areas. Since I have Mukherjee Nagar, a large number of women students are also residing there. So we identified these areas, and we converted one beat in each of the police station as an all-women beat. This was not to create any watertight compartments. This was with the purpose to give them ample amount of freedom in their area. They were given the authority in their area. They were made responsible for their area. At the same time, they had accountability also. So earlier, what was happening, they were having the responsibility, but there was no authority at all. So I implemented this thing, and it got a lot of positive response from the media as well as from the public. I could see that most of the women, they developed a kind of relationship with the area women, which was never seen earlier. They were very comfortable coming up with their problems. Not only they were providing safety and security to the women in the area, they were also engaged in other duties which their male counterparts were also doing. What I saw, I've been reviewing this scheme after every 3 months, and I always interact with the area women and see how this scheme is working, whether they are finding the girls, they are comfortable with these women stuff. So I could see that these girls are bringing about a change in the society. They are not only attacking the crime against women, they are not only dealing with these crimes, but they are also dealing with those crimes which grossly affect the women. For example, bootlegging. For example, the drug abuse. Then there's gambling. So these type of crimes, they're also launching a crusade against these type of crimes. So it is very good to see that these girls have become an agent of change in the society. Some of them have become so popular. One of my women constable, she is from the northeastern part of India. Her name is Constable Sanghi. she rides a bike and she has become an iconic figure in the area. Most of the girls like to take a selfie with her. Then there's another girl, she single-handedly caught a snatcher. Her name is Kiran. Like we think that always we used to think that catching, nabbing the snatchers is a domain of male, but they are breaking the barriers, and she herself did this task. So the area people has fondly started calling her Asha Ki Kiran. So her name has now become Asha Kiran. So these are some of the examples, and their stories have been highlighted in media, and public also. There's a lot of appreciation among the public with regard to the performance, with regard to the presence in the area. I could easily see they are very sincere, very dedicated towards their duties. So this was my Tejaswini initiative. So taking a step forward in this, what we did, we trained our Tejaswini girls in the techniques of self-defense, and now they started training the area women and the young girls of schools, colleges, and even in JJ clusters. They are equipping them with the training of self-defense. So in the sense, I say कि earlier we used to say कि पुलिस में तेजस्विनी है, and now I say अब मेरी तेजस्विनी हर घर में तेजस्विनी खड़ी कर रही है.
Absolutely right. Ma'am, you have also taken some very strong steps against the street crimes with Operation Sajag and many more such successful operations that you have done in your.
See, when I joined the Northwest District, I will just give you a brief about the profile of this area. In all the 11 police stations of Northwest District, there's JJ cluster. That means people from the economically backward sections and economically disadvantaged section of society do reside here. And because of that, vulnerability to crime is too much. There's a lot of vulnerability to crime. And then the Northwest District has so many highways, and we have outer ring road, we have inner ring road, we have GT Karnal road, which provide a fast escape route. So policing this area, especially in terms of street crime, tackling the street crime was a big challenge for me. When I came, every day there were many calls related to phone snatching or robbery with the young girls and even with the old senior citizens also. So I took it as a challenge, and I decided to launch a operation called Operation Sajag. This was an operation of alert policing. We implemented two-fold strategies. One was to having a highly preventive strategy so as to prevent the people from committing crime. This involved active patrolling, effective picketing system, placing pickets, dynamic pickets, surprise pickets in the area, access control in areas where the vulnerability is more through barricades and other things. So this was on one side, and a lot of surveillance on the criminals, the habitual criminals who are committing crime, those we call as bad characters. So that was one side of the policing. Then the another step we took was to strengthen the stakeholders. See, police cannot be everywhere. So our the main responsibility was to strengthen the stakeholders so that they can secure themselves. So as it was our task to sensitize them towards their own safety and security. So that in this thing, what we coined a term Suraksha Se Vikas, because we believe that until and unless the communities are safe and secure, there cannot be any development. So we started building force multipliers because the police cannot be everywhere. In the industrial areas, in the residential areas, we strengthened our Paharis, our chowkidars, our security guards. We trained them, we briefed them how to keep the areas safe and secure, and they are doing brilliant jobs. We have seen that in fact, they have prevented most of the crimes. So one was Pahari, another was to strengthen the women in the areas, to sensitize them against the crime against the women, equip them with the techniques of self-defense, training them, telling them how to report crimes to the police, and what all to do when you are in a situation which is unfortunate, how to react in those situations. So this was yet our attempt towards strengthening one of the vulnerable population. We also strengthened the security of our senior citizens. We coined we initiated one scheme called as Parvaha in the We Care for our elderlies. So in this, we sensitize them, our senior citizens, especially those whose children are not staying with them, maybe because of employment and because of education. They are out of their city and they are not residing with them. So they are vulnerable to a lot of crime. So we train them, we sensitize them, we tell them what are the security steps that they can take so as to empower themselves only. So this thing we did. And one thing was in, since I told you that I have an area just there were a lot of people from the economically backward sections because of the prevalence of large number of JJ clusters, resettlement colonies and slums. So we trained our UIs. We roped them into some gainful employment activities. We provided them skill training and also provided them an opportunity to gain employment. So this way we were preventing them from turning towards crime. So these were the steps that we took, and I'm happy to see that since last year the crime has remarkably declined in the area.
I would just introduce you Amrita Gugulot, DCP New Delhi District. She's an IPS officer of the 2011 batch, and she has served in Shahadra district of New Delhi traffic, and before that she was in the Andaman and Nicobar police. New Delhi district, as we know, has most of the VIP movements, the central secretariat, high profile residences, offices, government offices. So we'll start with Amrita ma'am telling us on her journey in policing.
Firstly, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on the show. To talk about my journey into the police. My parents were both government servants. One's a doctor, and my mom is also retired joint director for the Collegiate of Higher Education. So both of them were very keen in their jobs, and they have always been inspiration since the beginning. As we grew up, we always saw them working very hard and trying to give their best in whatever they are doing. So that always motivated me, and that always kept me focused on what I always wanted to be. Being in the IPS came along, but my always aspiration was to be of some use in whatever way I can to the society and make at least my contribution, and that has always been my motivation. And I kept on searching for better avenues where I can reach out to more and more people. So I was previously employed in few other jobs in the government itself, and always tried to explore my capabilities and to reach out to more and more people in that journey. The last thing that I settled is being in the police service.
You have recently taken over as DCP New Delhi, and you started this initiative called Police Sakhi, which is your brainchild on the improvement you want in your district. Tell us a little more about Police Sakhi.
Police Sakhi is all women patrolling system where it has just been introduced. It's still in the phase where it has to be expanded into a large number so that it would reach out to every part of the city, that is the New Delhi district. But we just started it out with the 9 scooties with 2 women officers on each of them, like a buddy pair. Because whenever there is a distress, any woman in distress or a child who is in some trouble or problem, I think they would be very comfortable, and the lady officers would be more sensitive towards their problems and would understand what their concerns are, and would be accessible more to the women in distress or a child, be it male or female. So I feel the women could understand and sensitize those to their problems more than the male counterparts. So keeping that in mind, and also the area that we our district majorly comprises of, the market areas, the schools, the colleges, especially the areas where you find juggies like the Sanjay camp or the Valmiki camp, and major market areas that we have, that is the Khan market, Connaught Place, and Yashwant Place. So these areas are those where there is a high footfall of women. If you know, there are big hotels and restaurants and shopping complexes. So there is a movement of women and children in all these places. So keeping the topography and the footfall of the areas, and also keeping in mind the colleges and schools, and the actual sensibility where the people in distress, even the senior citizens, whoever is in distress, can reach out to the women more and feel connected to them. They feel comfortable sharing their problems with them. With that in mind, we have started Police Sakhi. It is the patrolling system of all women police, where they will be patrolling in these kind of areas, where they will be able to reach out to people in trouble and try to help as much as they can.
Right. Um, since you have just newly taken over, I cannot ask you about what more things you have planned, but I'm sure you will have lot many things on your mind on how you want to improve the law and order, the VIP movements, the security, high security areas fall under your district. So something on that plan.
About the things that I would like to improve in future is also keeping in mind the area that I am the DCP for, the New Delhi district. The prime focus would be about being accessible and being the first responder, the reducing the response time for any type of call. So I would say being accessible makes half of the things easier. When somebody is able to listen to the problem, who attend to the problem, could address the problem in an appropriate way, in a professional manner, I think most of the problems are settled down. When there is delay, when there is no proper action, or when there is some kind of problem in handling the complainant or the complaint, that is when the issue crops up, and then it keeps on snowballing later on. So the immediate action and the professional action and the accessibility that we have always is one focus area that I would concentrate on. And apart from this, also keeping the area in mind, the law and order. So trying to make the area as smoother and safer and secure. So these would be my focus areas, and I would be working towards these things in future.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
DCP Benita Mary, she's DCP South District in Delhi Police. She's an IPS officer of 2010 batch. And we would like to start with her by knowing her journey in policing, on what inspired her to join policing, and how has been her experience so far.
Right. Thank you very much for making me a part of your webinar. I grew up in Delhi, studied here, and civil services has always been my only ambition. And so here I am. And my journey began from exactly where I am here now today. I was trained as a probationer in South District. My first posting was here. And it's been a pretty fulfilling journey so far. Right from the beginning of my career, I have been given lots of opportunities to work on some cases which have been very challenging and been a very learning experience, starting with the Nirbhaya case. Yes. And now, after 11 years of service, being DCP South.
Yes, ma'am. Since you mentioned Nirbhaya, I would say that you were the officer in charge for taking care of her when she was in the hospital, to the part where she was flown to Singapore. You were given the responsibility to take care of her as when you were under training in Defense Colony Police Station, if I'm not wrong. So, ma'am, as DCP South, you have witnessed some high-profile cases like the Greater Kailash hit and run case, and there was also in South X there was a casino that was busted for flouting COVID norms. So, as we know, South Delhi has upscale residences, clubs, pubs and posh, which is apparently the posh areas of Delhi. So could you tell us what is your experience in handling the law and order there, and what are the measures that you think of?
Like you said, South District has very posh and affluential colonies, colonies and residents, as well as we have extremely crime-prone areas also, which includes Sangam Vihar, Tigri, Ambedkar Nagar, and goes to the border of Gurgaon. So right from the Haryana border till we have Lodi colony here. So we have areas of all kinds. Like you said, these cases we have handled with in a professional manner, whether it is a crime happening in an affluential area or in a Jhugi cluster area. As a professional police officer, we are law enforcing agencies. We stand by the law, and that is what we do.
Right, right, ma'am. So there is a very an interesting observation where after you took over as DCP South, you started tweeting from your handle, and there are rhyming tweets. Just one I would like to mention. जो कर रहे हैं नशे का व्यापार हम बंद कर रहे हैं जो कर रहे हैं नशे का विस्तार हम कर रहे हैं उनका बंद कर रहे हैं उनका व्यापार, और से दिन भर में ये चोरी करते थे, चाकू भी साथ में रखते थे, फिर हुआ वही जिस बात से दोनों डरा करते थे. So these kind of the tweets which really got, Delhi police did not had a very traditional way of informing the citizens on social media, or say tweeting or giving out information. So this kind of this was a little tweak, a little change in the way you were talking about the crimes in your areas, the detections in your areas. So tell us a little more on that.
So that was an initiative I took at a very personal level. I was asked that I should manage the Twitter handle and properly and respond and be attentive. And I never had a Twitter account till I became DCP South. So I was as new to Twitter as I'm to this post. So I was learning, but I would observe what was happening on the social media, and I realized if I was always thinking from the perspective of a common citizen. So what would catch our attention? Mere reporting facts may not send the message to too many people. So the entire idea behind taking out time, investing time and thought of posting something means it should reach more people than it usually does. And that was the whole idea. And even for me, amidst so many stressful things, writing and thinking about it in a creative manner is a pleasure for a few minutes.
Absolutely, ma'am. And those tweets are they're very catchy. They're very interesting to read. And I have seen the comments on those as well, and people are really liking your expression of what is happening in your district. So, ma'am, just a bit more on what more you are doing in your district. Is there something that you would like to share with us in terms of women's safety and law and order and more?
Like I said, I have worked in South District for a pretty long time. I understand the area. I am familiar with the residents of the area, the geography. So I know how to respond to situations. So one of the initiatives, the one you have mentioned and my colleagues and seniors here have mentioned, in Alaknanda market of CR Park, we have a pink booth. So when we were asked to have pink booths, I wanted it to be a model pink booth in every sense. And I would use this forum to invite you and other women to visit this pink booth. I'm sure you will find it very different from the ones that you've maybe seen. So just like in the airports, the kind of washrooms and the mother and care stations. In this pink booth, which is manned by a lady sub-inspector along with the lady staff, we also have a baby feeding room. So we have a baby feeding room, we have a nappy changing station, we have a coffee vending machine, we have a sanitary napkin vending machine, we have a ladies exclusive pink bathroom, we have wheelchairs for senior citizens there, and we have television which plays the educational, or informative contents of Delhi Police. We also have a kiosk where women and men alike. So this pink booth is not just for women, because we as police officers and in Delhi Police, we are here for citizens, men and women both alike. So we have a kiosk where citizens can come, particularly women, can come and report their crimes and get a copy of their EFIRs. So maybe a theft in their house, maybe the loss of a mobile phone, maybe another incident, loss of their motorcycle, theft. It's a very easy to handle kiosk like you see in the malls, and you get a print of your EFIR. So that's a very innovative thing, which so that for every small little thing, you need not go to the thana.
Ji. Right, ma'am. We will definitely, I'll definitely check it out. And what is your message for the women? We're going with the theme Break the Bias. So would you like to share something on that to inspire more women to break the bias and take up more challenges, do something more in their life?
To all the women and the children of Delhi who live here, you see us 6 women DCPs here and so many more joint commissioners and special commissioners who are women. You have seen us breaking the bias. You have seen us perform well, and we assure to keep you safe. And I assure you that you join the force, you will not regret it one day. It's a very fulfilling profession, a profession in which you will touch the lives of citizens with every little thing you do. Every signature, every paper, every complaint, every criminal you catch, every complaint that you redress is going a long way in touching the lives of citizens. So there can't be a better profession where you can change the lives of people around you, touch the lives of around you, make an impact in the society, and feel so satisfied from deep within.
Very well said, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts. We would like to end the webinar here. It was really, really nice having all the 6 women DCPs of Delhi Police. They've shared inspiring stories of their work, their journey, what brought them into policing, how they are changing the scenario of policing in Delhi and leading the Delhi Police from the front. So thank you, officers. Thank you so much for joining us.